And that breaking news this afternoon, a Wilmington man is under federal indictment right now, accused of threatening to kill the president of the United States. Prosecutors say 32-year-old Christopher Hill posted public comments on Facebook last October, threatening to kill and injure the president. Hill is charged with making a threat against President Trump. If convicted, he faces up to 5 years in federal prison and a fine of up to $250,000. The FBI and the U.S. Secret Service are both investigating this case.